work in Oak Park?
I don't know where it is. That could be. I'm sure it goes through, what's the Red Run River drain, so it's like several communities in this area. Yeah, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you get one of these in?
I didn't get one of those, but that's she's good. She's doing great. She's getting more and more active.
You didn't take the picture for me, did you? No.
Oh, I got some.
You didn't take the picture for me.
Okay. This meeting of the Oak Park City Council is called to order. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. City Clerk Ed Norris, please call the roll.
Mayor McClellan,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine,
Here.
Councilmember Seligson,
Here.
Councilmember Burns,
Here.
Councilmember Speech.
Here.
Okay. Next, I'd like to make two changes to the agenda. Please remove item 15L. It's not quite ready. 15L, delete that one. And then move 15D, the fee schedule, to 8C under budget. So 15D, move it to 8C. Okay, motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Moved.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next, we have the consent agenda. The following routine items are presented for city council approval without discussion as a single item. Any council member can remove one item and have it considered separately. Item A, regular council meeting minutes of May 4th, 2015. B, request to cancel the May 26th meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Minutes of the Planning Commission, March 9th and April 20th. Request to advertise for bids for the 2015 Shepherd Park Parking Lot Reconstruction Project, M608. Request approval for payment of invoices to Orchard Hills McClement for water reservoir pumping station improvements and traffic signal design in the total amount of $19,458.50. Payment applications 4 and 5 to CSM Mechanical for the 2014 water reservoir pumping station improvements, M614, in the total amount of $17,680.30. Resolution designating Kevin J. Yee as the agent for the City of Oak Park in regards to the Oakland County West Nile Virus Reimbursement Program. And finally, licenses, new and renewals as submitted for May 18th, 2015. I'd like a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Point of order.
Aye.
Do we need a roll call vote because we have two.
I think we had.
We have two items where we have money that we're approving. I think we have to have a roll call vote in that case.
These are part of normal contracts. These are.
We've already approved them. This is just a follow-up. Okay. So today, item 6 is recognition of visiting elected officials.
I have a
And
question.
we're honored to have.
Did we finish the vote?
I suppose so.
Yes. Oh, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carried, sorry. Robert Wittenberg is here. He is our state representative, and he has an update for us. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. Just not much of an update, just actually want to come and say a few things and say hello to everyone. Want to congratulate you on the whole city of Oak Park for passing the proposal for the mixed drinks and spirits. I know we held the town halls here, and I thought that was really helpful. And I had a lot of people reach out to me that said that was quite helpful. As far as the other ballot proposal, went down in flames, which is, I understand there was a lot of confusion with it, and people weren't big fans of it, which is completely fine. And we have our work cut out for us in Lansing because we do need to address our crumbling roads and infrastructure. It's something that needs to be addressed, and I'm really want to get to work with the Republicans and hope that we can come up with a viable solution and something that won't cut from our local communities and cut from our schools and our community health budget and things like that. So just know that I will be working on your behalf, and again, want to encourage anyone at home, if you have questions or suggestions or you need anything, as always, please to reach out to me, and I will repeat all of my contact information to call me, 517-373-0478, and the email is robertwittenberg@house.mi.gov, and the website, and you can sign up for my e-newsletters, wittenberg.housedems.com. And you can go there, sign up for my e-newsletter, and we'll give you updates. We're going to be holding coffee hours. We don't have the dates finalized just yet, but we'll be back here in Oak Park, and then the other communities throughout the district. So, but just wanted to congratulate everyone, thank everyone for getting out to vote. We definitely had a larger turnout here and throughout the 27th House District than a lot of other places. It was a low turnout throughout the state. I think only 20% of the state actually got out to vote. But encourage people to please reach out to me with any questions, suggestions, concerns, and just, stay active. So I don't know if any of you have any questions or anything that you need, but just know that I'm here to help and to serve and work alongside of all of you.
Wonderful, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Next, we have special recognition. I'd like to call Director Steve Cooper up to lead a tribute and a moment of silence in the memory of Oak Park Public Safety Officer Henry Wolf, who was shot and killed in the line of duty. I think just putting on your uniform in the morning, you are taking a chance, and we appreciate your courage.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, and Council. In the law enforcement profession, one of our own has made the ultimate sacrifice, protecting those across this great nation. We've always pledged never to forget. This evening, we honored that pledge, remembering Officer Henry Wolf and thanking him for his unwavering service to the citizens of Oak Park. May 21st will mark the 42nd anniversary of the death of Public Safety Officer Henry Wolf, who was killed in the line of duty May 21st, 1973. Henry Wolf joined the Oak Park Public Safety Department on April 1st, 1968. A few months after being hired in Oak Park, he married his wife, Linda. His daughter, Laura, was born the following year. Officer Wolf was highly regarded and respected by his fellow officers. During his 5-year career with the department, he earned several citations and commendations, including the Citation for Valor, which was awarded posthumously. At 7:30 a.m. on May 21st, 1973, Officer Wolf made a traffic stop at Sherman and Northfield. Officer Wolf was unaware that the 2 occupants of the vehicle had just been involved in a shooting incident in Royal Oak. As Officer Wolf approached the car, the passenger produced a handgun. As Officer Wolf struggled with the passenger, the driver took Officer Wolf's gun from his holster and fired a shot to the back of Officer Wolf. The 2 suspects attempted to flee and exchanged gunfire with an Oak Park officer who was arriving to assist. Both suspects later were apprehended, and both men were tried and convicted and are still serving life sentences for the murder of Officer Wolf. At the age of 27, with 5 years of service, Officer Wolf made the ultimate sacrifice, leaving behind his wife and 4-year-old daughter. Out of respect and gratitude to Officer Henry Wolf, we have gathered here on this 18th day of May in the year of 2015 to honor his service, sacrifice, and bravery. I'd ask that we pause for a moment of silence, please. Thank
Thank you very much. A second sad item for our agenda, special recognition. Many of you have already heard about the horrific train accident in Philadelphia that killed 6 people and injured over 200. It saddens all of us that Rachel Jacobs, a former Huntington Woods neighbor, was one of those who was killed in the crash. Rachel Jacobs is the daughter of Gilda Jacobs, who has served our community in many ways as a Huntington Woods commissioner, as a county commissioner, as a state representative, and as a state senator. Rachel was a shining star in her own right. At the age of 39, she served as the CEO of an online consulting company in education. She was focused on social justice and founded Detroit Nation, a nonprofit organization dedicated to bringing jobs to Metro Detroit. In addition to her mother, Gilda, and father, John, Rachel leaves behind a husband and a 2-year-old son. I recently spoke to Gilda's junior high school teacher, and he told me that Rachel was so kind and so enthusiastic that it was hard to remember how brilliant she was. Her funeral was held today in Southfield, standing room only. People who Rachel touched during her life filled every seat and flowed out to fill many, many seats in the lobby. Please pray for the family and friends of Rachel Jacobs to find strength, comfort, and peace in the memory of her bright light. And now I'd like to ask for a moment of silence to honor the memory of Rachel Jacobs. Thank you. Next, we have public hearing that is still open from May 4th, 2015, to create a corridor improvement authority and designate a proposed development area. Item 8A, is there anyone here who would like to speak about the corridor improvement authority? Is there anyone who would like to speak? Oh, yes. Let's have our manager of economic and community development, Kim Maroney, to come up and talk about this great news that's coming to Oak Park.
So a corridor improvement authority is a tax increment financing authority. What that means is a portion of the taxes that you currently pay will be dedicated towards improvements in the corridor that's created. So it doesn't mean an increase in your taxes. It means that the taxes you currently pay will be dedicated to improvements in the corridor. It also allows us the opportunity, if the county does not opt out, that their portion of the taxes that you pay will go back into the Oak Park community and be spent in that corridor. So it allows us to do things like streetscape improvements, infrastructure improvements, a facade improvement program, marketing, potted plants, you name it, all sorts of items that you can do in the corridor improvement authority. Does that answer your question? Okay.
So this is not a tax increase for businesses. No. This is just a realignment of where the funds are used. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Then I'd like to declare this public hearing closed. We have a second public hearing that will follow presentation by our city manager, Eric Tungate, on the budget.
Well, first, I have to say, we made it. Because this is a process for me that began in January. And like every year since I've been here, I'm exhausted from it, as usual. I'd like to go through a brief presentation, Madam Mayor, members of council, and members of the public, and then we can open up the public hearing and take questions that I'd be happy to answer. Okay, so, council members, you have your budget books in front of you. Okay, so here's what we're going to talk about briefly, is the economic environment, which I'm going to call some of our challenges, and we share some of those challenges, if not all of those challenges, with communities around us. Then I'm going to talk about budget highlights, and I'm going to call these opportunities. And the two themes of this year's budget are going to be stability and economic growth. And I thought this quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson was very appropriate because what we have overcome has even made us stronger. So first, the challenges. While we're now improving, our primary sources of revenue still have not returned to pre-recession levels. However, for the first time in 7 years, our residential and commercial taxable values has increased or projected to increase. And we're going to be conservative with that number and say that it's going to increase by about 1.6%. Revenue sharing, we all know the story about revenue sharing. In 2001, we were getting about $5 million a year, and we're projecting about $3.3 million in the next budget, even though that's up from what we received in 2013. As you can see, it was $3.1 million. So I always include this graph because I think this shows us in comparison to the rest of Oakland County. So you can see there are the red Oakland County taxable values. We're just slightly under the county average for increased taxable values, but we're catching up. And I thought this was appropriate as you look at what 1 mil to the city is in the equivalent amount of revenue. So you can see that finally we are on the upward trajectory. So 1 mil is worth more today than it was at the same time last year. And I thought, community and economic development. Everybody at this point, I hope at least, has heard about this redevelopment project on the Armory site. Well, we think that project could generate as much as $150,000 in new tax revenue a year. And another item would be that we think there's going to be somewhere around $60,000 in building permit revenue for that project alone. It's about a $35 million project, give or take. Having said all of that, we are almost certain the project's going to go forward. We didn't budget for these revenues. We wanted to be conservative. We also know that, as our state representative mentioned, the passage of the Class C liquor license proposal could lead to even more new businesses locating in our community. We certainly hope so, and we're certainly going to do everything we can to make sure that happens. And I think it was also very prominent that on the revenue side of the equation, licenses and permit revenues are projected to increase by about 92%, so almost double. Councilmember.
Yes, I just want to ask also, what's also not budgeted in here are the businesses that may already be relocating here because of the closed Northland, correct?
Absolutely, yep. Absolutely. So, we can associate the increased revenues from licenses and permits to the increased amount of activity going on in the community. By the way, in 2012, when I came here, this was exactly the opposite. It was way down because we had, decreased activity. We're now seeing an increase in activity, almost double. Public infrastructure. I asked the assistant city manager to come up here with me during this portion because you can see that while, as the state representative mentioned, we didn't pass our roads proposal, we are still doing a whole bunch of different things with our major and local street funding, including $300,000 for patch and grind work on Lincoln from Coolidge to Greenfield, $400,000 for patch and grind work on Oak Park Boulevard from Coolidge to Greenfield, $100,000 for joint and crack sealing work, and $150,000 for miscellaneous concrete repair. I think you are seeing this out here on Coolidge and other residential areas throughout the city. In addition to that, water and sewer, we've budgeted $550,000 for sewer lining and repairs, $400,000 for water main replacement, and $15,000 for a water rate study. And council members, as I mentioned during our work sessions, a water rate study will give us concrete details as to why we are setting our water rates what we are. We've traditionally set our water rate increases at what was passed on to us from Detroit Water and Sewer. Is that right? We're going to find out. Is it more? Is it less? Is it about right? We're going to see. A lot of communities have done this, and their residents grow to come to expect the increases or decreases or whatever it may be that are passed on to them. Continuation of code enforcement efforts. I don't think of code enforcement as separate from public safety. I look at it as one initiative. And as you know, we've been on a mission to eradicate blight and register every single one of our rental properties throughout the city. Our Department of Technical and Planning has done a wonderful job in terms of getting these registered. And like I say, I think our Public Safety Department, linked up with our code enforcement efforts, can have a tremendous dual effect out in our neighborhoods in terms of blitzes and, the broken windows theory, for example. In the current budget, we budgeted for an additional building inspector, which we see because of the increased economic activity we're going to need, and another rental code inspector to take on the additional rental properties. In the 2015-2016 budget, I'm asking for another code officer, which essentially that person would not start until January 1st, which would be half a year of funding. Undesignated general fund balance. Councilmember Sellickson's favorite topic of all. This is our reserve funds, and a lot of people refer to this as your rainy day fund, and this is to guard against the unforeseen. If you have a flood disaster or something like that, you certainly have a way to guard against those things. Now, city policy requires that I maintain a 10% of revenues and 8.33% of expenditures. We've exceeded that again. And so the next year's budget, we've projected a fund balance of 9.62% against expenditures, that should be, and against revenue should be 10.06 and 9.62 against expenditures, far in excess of our policy, and that ends up being right around 1.7 million that we'll set aside as our rainy day fund. I also wanted to give you a history of our undesignated general fund balance percentage numbers here, and you can see that we've, in the last, since 2012 really, we've far exceeded our calculations, and which means we've outperformed our budget, which is great. And in addition to that, as we did last year, this is a 2-year budget, and the second year, which would be the 16-17 year, I've included a projected budget. This is a conservative budget, and I'll show you why. We aren't including a COPS grant, even though we're applying for a new one. We don't know if we're going to get it yet. The $220,000 that's in the 15-16 budget will come off the books in 16-17. Healthcare costs, these have bottomed out. Our major savings have been done, and while the bar is now much lower than it was originally, we're starting back up on the upward trajectory. And what we're saying is that we know the rate of inflation is about 3%, but we're going to double that and say we expect it to increase at least 6%. And the results in the last few years have proven that it's not even increasing at that rate. And we've also minimized potential taxable value increases. So we think it's going to be about 1.6% in the 15-16 budget. We're also going to use that number for the 16-17 budget, even though we know that we might see a greater than expected increase. So, in summary, stable, undesignated general fund balance, focused on community and economic development initiatives. And the mayor actually mentioned this, and she's absolutely right, but momentum is building. You can feel the momentum building in this community, and that's what economic development is. When we began this process in 2012, it started slow. Well, guess what? It's building a head of steam in front of it, and we're seeing this with more and more interest throughout the city. Our continued investment and maintenance of public infrastructure and equipment, and as I mentioned, enhanced building and code enforcement efforts, and again, the 2-year budgeting process. Thank you, Oak Park. I'll take questions. Let me move up here so.
Thank you, City Manager Tungate. Very impressive. Yes, question.
I know this just, I don't know how much it relates to the specific grant, this specific budget, but something new that just came out today as far as the community policing grant. What's our plan for that? Because I know it just came out, but we're looking for funds for our public safety officers. How can we fold that into what we're doing now?
Is our state rep still here? There he goes. Okay. So we need to get a plane ticket to Washington here. And we need to, and you know, I'm totally joking.
Oh, okay.
I actually half joking maybe. So it's first of all, I think it's amazing that you saw that come out, because it was just this afternoon that it came out, so you're on top of it.
I'm kind of into it, so.
Well, and I think, it's a very pertinent question, because what they have told us, because remember, we're still living off of the grant that we received 3 years ago. It's a 3-year grant, and this coming budget year will be the last year of that grant. So they're telling us, you're doing too well. The purpose of the program is to benefit those communities who might be struggling financially. Well, we used to be one of those communities, but now we're sort of in a different position. So, I'm not gonna skip asking and making every case possible, but, our public safety director and I are gonna sit down and go over a plan to advocate to our state senator, or U.S. senators, I should say, and everybody else who will listen to try to land that. So it'll be a great benefit to us.
Mayor Pro Tem.
I'd just like the city manager to speak to how our new information technology system and will be able to help improve reporting so that we'll get some real-time numbers and can actually help us to make adjustments mid-year once we see the real numbers coming in.
Well, thank you. The first of all, it's another one of those, moments, because for those of you that don't know, we last year decided to transition to a new financial software system, and while that sounds very easy and smooth and like everything's going to go great, it certainly didn't all go great. As we know from, some of our department heads here can tell you that we've had hiccups along the way, and much of that was expected, obviously, when you make that kind of a transition. We are fully transitioned over now, so we're at a point where staff is comfortable and getting more comfortable with the system. As far as financial reporting, last week we began our initial reporting. So I'm just now receiving department reports. So my expectation is that in the very near future, and I know I've been saying this for a long time, that all of City Council will be getting those, monthly or quarterly, whatever we decide upon, financial reports, so that you can begin being more tuned in.
Council member speech.
Yep. And can you be a little bit more specific about the funds that, I know you said we're being very conservative now, but best case scenario, we do get the additional funds that come in. What is the specifics how will we use those additional funds? Because say we do get the funds, we do get the system up, we get the quarterly reports, and they show additional money. What's the plan for using that? Or for at least reporting it and then using it?
And I think you're referring to the permit revenue and taxable value.
All of the money that could flow back into the budget.
Yeah, it's always going to be my recommendation to plug that away into our fund balance and build even more balance against the unforeseen. Having said that, my first priority, which I know I share with every single one of you, is always going to be public safety.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Which,
Okay.
we need to make sure that not only is our department staffed appropriately, which at this point in time, I think we're almost there. We've hired back 8 of the 15 that were laid off, and we're still, working every much as we can to try to get more. But we also have to make sure that they're equipped correctly. And we've done a really good job of that in the last couple of years in terms of our motor pool and police and fire equipment and things like trainings and things like this. But there's certainly more that needs to be done. So, that would be my utmost priority, which I know all of you share.
Well, I ask about the plan because I certainly do think public safety is one of the most important departments, but I feel like we have a responsibility, all the departments. And so if there's any additional funds, the plan to make sure that we disperse it however, of course, is necessary, but public safety is the priority for me. Thank you.
Further questions? Thank you. Okay, we will then open the public hearing for discussion of the fiscal budget. Any resident who wishes to speak, please come on up to the podium. Hi, welcome. Give us your name and address.
My name is Gloria Key, and I'm at 1333 West 9 Mile. this, okay. I am concerned about this Oak Park Corridor Improvement Development Area represented in the resolution to which this exhibit is attached is described as including all properties within the boundaries. I need to know, does that include 13333 West 9 Mile to I think those condos are 13331 West 9 Mile to 13341, something like that. That's what I need to know.
Our city manager, Eric Tungate, will answer your question.
Well, first of all, I just want to, this is about the city budget, but specifically speaking, I would ask that you speak to Manager Maroney afterwards, and she can tell you the specifics. But, Councilmembers, if you don't mind, I just want to say one thing about the Corridor Improvement Authority in terms of the budget, and that is that it does not have an effect on the city's budget because, as Manager Maroney said, it is a tax increment financing. It's a tax capture, essentially. So, you pay your taxes, and it's seamless to you. It has virtually no impact on you. In fact, actually, if you really wanted to know, the tax capture gets taxes that are currently appropriated to, let's say, the county, it may be, that we would have normally never seen those revenues, and we'll now see those, and they'll be used throughout the corridor for economic development projects and improvements.
Okay, you're kind of talking a little over my head a little bit, but my main question again is that I need to know if that includes this structure. Is that going to
Kim,
affect
can you be
me?
Okay.
If you receive the letter, odds are almost 100% certain that you are included in that, yes.
Okay, well, I'll talk to you afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Anyone else like to speak to the budget? Anyone else? Thank you. I'll declare this hearing closed. Next, we vote to approve the budget resolution as presented.
So moved.
Discussion or questions? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Burns,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine,
Yes.
Mayor McClellan,
Yes.
Councilmember Selleckson.
Yes.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Okay, this passed unanimously. Thank you. We have a request for a special event license, item 10A.
We have C, Madam Mayor. 8C.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
We added 8C, which is the fee schedule from 15D.
Madam Mayor, may I?
City Manager Tungate will explain the fee schedule change.
So, as we do every year, since I arrived, we've included the fee schedule as part of the city's budget. So I wanted to make sure that you had the latest and greatest copy.
Thanks.
The changes that we're recommending are in red throughout the document. This appears under 15D in your packet, council members. And I'll be happy to entertain questions or bring up the appropriate department director to answer any specific questions.
Just in general, why were the changes made? What was the rationale for the changes?
Well, generally speaking, the changes to the fee schedule are twofold. And one is that the whole intent of a government fee is to offset our cost for providing the service, let's say. And a lot of the fees that were in place here in the city of Oak Park have been in place for many years and don't correctly reflect current market conditions or whatever it may be. In addition to that, we also look at some of the standards out there, and that may be looking at other communities, for example, and determining, are we in line and are our fees appropriate? Do they give us a competitive edge? Are we still in the ballpark and those kinds of things? And we put all of that to use in identifying the appropriate fees throughout the document. And I don't think, this year there's comparatively speaking, there are very few changes, but over the course of the last 3 years, we've made quite a few changes.
I wonder if you could just name some changes for the people who are listening.
Sure. Well, DVD rentals at the library, for example, are gonna be $1 as a change, and we currently don't charge for that.
That's just for the new.
Yes,
The
for the new
fees.
release DVD rentals. We also included, council members, the tavern license fee information, and that's just because we didn't have that historically until very recently. And as you go through it, I believe there are some changes in our right, shelter rentals. You know, one of the changes to our shelter rentals is not just the fees, and most of those are gonna be increases, but it's also that we are allowing rentals to occur throughout 2 different shifts throughout the day, as opposed to just, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. and take up a whole day when we could be using it for two different parties.
Mayor, I have a question.
Council member speech.
Can you have either you or Director Hall speak to the changes specifically regarding baseball? Because we don't have the fees for what they used to be to what they are now and the time frame. Can you speak to a little bit about that, about the change? Because I know we've gotten some communication regarding the difference and, if there's any hardship. What's the difference in what it used to be and what it is now and how much time they have to pay?
Well, the primary difference is we actually did an assessment of local other agencies, including the school district, on what they were charging specifically for prepped fields. Previously, we were charging $40, which didn't even cover our staff costs, the
$40
chalk, for a field rental.
Okay, for the game.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, which is about 3 times less than what it actually costs to do when you figure in your chalk, your field time, and other additional staffing with that.
Okay.
So we did make adjustments based on looking at other agencies around here as well as the school district and made those recommendations. I will tell you that we have had a couple groups that have been were getting by without paying anything for a period of time. So when we went through our records and started going through and figuring out why those things were happening, we have some individuals who aren't very happy because they were skating for a while on the backs of our taxpayers. So we have begun to correct those things, which means we've had a couple individuals who I think have since made requests that they continue to do that, which I have not approved based on the fact that it's a rental and it should be available to residents first and foremost. So we have made some adjustments. It does account for our staff costs, both physically being out there and lining or dragging the fields, as well as internally in the office.
Okay.
And a couple of those groups actually do have sponsors for those. And when you're looking at a travel group where kids or other members could play in an in-house league and have those costs covered through their in-house registration fees, they are choosing to play in travel leagues where you typically pay a significant amount more to participate in tournaments and other things that cost a lot more money. So at a basic, you should figure in, if you're going to play in a travel type situation, your field costs should be first and foremost, as making sure you can cover your field costs before you spend hundreds or thousands of dollars, depending on the travel group that we had traveling across the country, to pay for the cost that we incur with the city.
I know we'd had a conversation, but I wanted you to share it with the public. Because,
Absolutely.
I don't want anyone thinking that we're making money off of the community. It's just simply being able to cover the staff costs and to make sure that it's at the basic price and it's comparable to other communities, just to make sure that they have the services that they need and that the ball field looks like it's supposed to look for the players.
And things that we haven't included in the past in our pricing that we do incur include our fuel costs, our vehicle. DPW and other departments do similar things where you have truck charges or things where you're offsetting those costs, and we are falling in line with that type of process to make sure that we are, in fact, covering, having those individuals who want extra service pay for that
To pay for
service.
that. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further questions? Let's see, where are we now? So there's no vote. The fee schedule separately.
Make a motion.
Motion to accept this fee schedule.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay. We have a special license request. Manager Kim Maroney, would you come up and tell us what event this is for?
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, and Council. The Arts and Cultural Commission is requesting that you approve a special license for an event to be held at Shepherd Park in Pavilion 1, and it's going to be held on June 12th between the hours of 5 and 8 p.m., and we have one of our members here in the audience, Terry McQueen, who is going to be the DJ for that event, free of charge. And she has another DJ that's going to be joining her as well. And we're hoping that maybe some of the residents and kids getting out of school will come join us at this event, and it'll be a nice community activity.
It's kind of a free concert in the park.
Yes.
Fabulous. So, June 12th, 5 to 8, be there or be square. That's great, thank you. A motion to approve the special event, please.
So moved.
Second?
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item 11, this is approval for payment of an invoice submitted by Garen Lukow Miller, PC, for legal services in the total amount of $11,667.90. A motion to approve?
So moved.
Support.
Discussion or questions? Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine.
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes.
Councilmember Seligson.
Yes.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Councilmember Burns.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried. Item 13A is first reading of an ordinance to amend Section 1001, permitted uses of Article 10, Office Building District, Appendix A zoning of the Court of Ordinances of the City of Oak Park, Michigan. Motion for the first reading to amend the ordinance.
So moved?
Second.
Seconded. All in favor? Oh, first, discussion or questions? I do have a question about this one. Wondered why there are only several office buildings that this applies to.
Yes, it's only for the smaller office complexes, 2,000 square feet and less. They're kind of unique in the community that we've designated them as office buildings, and there's a lot more uses that they could be used for. They're going to be able to do some retail establishments, but they're going to be consistent with more office hours, so it won't affect the residents behind them.
Wonderful. I just wondered why it was limited to only the smaller office building.
Right now, in the larger office buildings, we do allow 40% for commercial uses. So the larger office buildings have that opportunity already, as these do. Even though they're smaller buildings, they could, but to divide them is not as easy.
Right. Oh, okay. Any other questions? Okay. We need a roll call, I believe. Thank you.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes.
Councilmember Seligson.
Yes.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Councilmember Burns.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine.
Yes.
Okay, this passed unanimously. We're now into the part where we turn to City Attorney Ebony Duff.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council. I have two items this evening, and the first is a request for authority to file an appearance in Michigan Tax Tribunal docket number 150000767. This is Lincoln Center versus City of Oak Park. Just briefly, last meeting, you all approved appearance on the parcel that contained the Kmart store. This is the remaining parcels in that shopping center that they are appealing the assessment, and I just request authority to file an appearance.
Motion to allow our attorney to file an appearance.
So moved?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. The second item is a proposed settlement in the matter of CNN Building LLC versus the City of Oak Park. This is another Michigan Tax Tribunal appeal. The shopping center is located at 9 Mile and Coolidge. It is the center that contains the Glory Supermarket and related parcels. We have reached a tentative settlement that will, again, without having to go through an appraisal and the attendant costs with a trial, we have reached a tentative settlement for the 2 years at issue, which were 2014 and 15. There will be a reduction in city taxes for both years of approximately $5,500. And I do believe this is in the best interest of the city as opposed to continuing with this litigation. And I request your approval for settlement at this time.
Motion to approve settlement, please.
So moved. Second.
Okay, any discussion or questions? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Seligson.
Yes.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Councilmember Burns.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine.
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes, passed unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
City Manager Tungate, please help us with item 15.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. I'd like to call the Assistant City Manager, Kevin Yee, up for 15A, please.
Thank you. The Public Works Department is requesting authorization to participate with Oakland County purchasing, the Oakland County purchasing bid for the purchase of water meter remote radio reading devices. The radio reading devices will replace the older versions that have been failing. The amount of $80,000 has been allocated in the Water and Sewer Fund for this expenditure. It is recommended that City Council authorize the Public Works Department to participate with the Oakland County purchasing bid for the purchase of 250 Neptune R900 water meter remote radio reading devices at $82.89 each, for a total amount of $20,722.50 in the current budget, and $750 of the same in the 2015-16 budget, for a total amount of $62,167.50 in that budget. Funding for both purchases is available in the Water and Sewer Fund under the respective budget years.
Thank you. Motion to authorize this participation in the
So
purchase. Then we'll get questions.
So moved.
And we have a second?
Support.
Support. Questions for Assistant City Manager Yee?
Yes, the new Neptune R900 water meters, has there been a test or have you checked for their stability? We've gotten a lot of, I've gotten a lot of questions and concerns about the radio remote meters and the effect that they may have on the households or on the persons. Have there been any studies done on their accuracy?
These are approved by the FCC. We've been using remote reading devices on water meters for probably the past 15 years at least. We've been using this particular brand for about the last 5. We've had a lot of success with them. The batteries are changeable in these. The old devices, the batteries were not changeable, so once they stopped reading, they were pretty much disposable. These we've had good luck with, and we've been replacing them, and they've worked out well.
Okay.
Question. Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay, does this involve equipment that's going to be installed in residents' homes?
This is installed on the outside of their
On the
homes.
outside
It
of
is the
homes.
reading device, yes.
Thank you.
Are we ready for a vote? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Councilmember Burns.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine.
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes,
Councilmember Seligson.
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you.
Okay, Manager Maroney, if you could join me for 15B and C, please.
I just wanted to give council an update in regards to our EPA technical assistance grant that we received. We are going to be conducting that between June 1st and June 3rd, and there's a few public forums that we want the community to come out and participate in. The project that we're taking a look at is a redesign of the 9 Mile corridor, seeing if there's anywhere we can place pocket parks, if it's in need of a road diet, added parking for some of the commercial areas, and we have a group of consultants that will be coming in to do the design work for us, but they would like to meet with City Council and the community and business owners that are interested in that corridor. So I wanted to make sure that everybody knew that at the community center on June 1st, between the hours of, and it is a change in what you have, from 5 to 7 p.m., and then on June 2nd, we are going to have an open design studio between the hours of 1 and 5 p.m., and on June 3rd, between 9 and noon, another open design studio. What that means is they want you to come in at your own pace anytime between those hours and give your opinions and feedback and what you think we should do in the 9 Mile corridor. And then on June 3rd, at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, we'll do our final presentation on what they suggest for our community to do here in City Council chambers. Now, the schedule we've been working on with the group, with the consultants coming in from out of town. So again, there were changes since the last time I gave it to you. We're hopefully going to finalize it tomorrow. So I would suggest anybody to either contact me by phone at 248-691-7404. And we're going to be creating a flyer with all the final dates and times, and we'll post that on our website as well.
Okay, so this is good economic development news.
Yes, it is. I think we have a question.
A council member speech.
Actually, I have two questions. So I'm excited about this. Can you remind us, the first one is, can you remind us about what the 9 Mile corridor is? What is the geographic location of that? And then for anyone outside of that, will they be recommending things that they can do, like businesses can do to kind of, even if they're not a part of it, to kind of spruce up their areas? Will there be any part of that?
So the area that we're considering 9 Mile is actually from in Ferndale, where they did their road diet. So Ferndale is actually going to participate in this study with us.
Okay.
We're going to go from there all the way to Southfield. So the entire 9 Mile corridor, to see what we can do to make improvements. As far as other people coming in and weighing in their opinion, I think is what your question is, whether or not they live or have a business interest on 9 Mile. We definitely want to hear their opinions.
Okay. So, for example, if someone is not on the 9 Mile corridor, but they're in a business strip mall, like from Tim Hortons down, actually, some people asked me today, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, any resident or business owner within the community, they don't
They
have
can
to
come
be
in.
on the 9 Mile corridor. We want to
Okay.
hear everybody's opinions.
Okay, good deal.
So is this a grant? How are we paying for this?
Yes, we had a technical assistance grant that we applied for and received in January. The only cost to us is providing the facilities, and then we're going to be buying pizza. And the first public forum on Monday between 5 and 7 p.m. on June 1st will be providing pizza for the citizens, so,
Pizza?
yep,
Give them food and they will come.
yes. Feed them and they will come, exactly.
Right. It said multimodal transportation. Can you put that in English?
Yes, we're going to be looking at bike lanes, and then we also are looking at walking paths, and we've also reached out to Smart Bus, and hopefully we'll have their involvement too.
Green engineering?
Yes, if we do any type of infrastructure projects on this, we want to look at any type of green engineering. So what that would mean is, so, for instance, if you had water runoff, instead of it going into the sewer systems, we would use rain gardens. That would be one example of it, or there's sometimes permeable paving solutions as well.
Wonderful. And then in our notes, it says the walkable street design charrette
Yep.
will take place. Can you explain charrette? And
A charrette is pretty much a fancy word for a public meeting that you were going to come and share your opinions with.
all right, in English, that's good. This is great news.
Yes, I'm very
exciting.
excited about it.
So, and we'll put this out on all our website and all
Yep.
of that. That's great. Sorry, Mayor Pro Tem.
Just
question.
want to double up on that, not just coming up to share your opinions, but share your ideas too, because this is how we brand Oak Park. This is the future. Please come out.
Amen. Truth. And we don't need a vote on this.
Nope.
Nope.
Before I turn 15C over to Manager Maroney, I want to add my own 2 cents here. The facade improvement program, council members, as you know, has been something that I have dreamed about since the day I arrived. And while it took a heck of a lot longer than I wanted it to, I think the day has finally come where we can unveil this program. And, you know, I've always said that there's no quicker way to see progress in a community like this than bricks and mortar. And this is as clear an example of bricks and mortar as there is. So with that, Manager Maroney, if you'll take 15C from here. Maybe I
So-
said it all. Maybe you don't have to say anything.
I'll just leave now. We have created a facade improvement program, and instead of using our taxpayer dollars, we did some fundraising. So we were able to fundraise $17,500 to put into our initial budget for this program. The grant match will be a 50% grant for a maximum of $2,500, which can be used on facade work and replacement of signage. So not new signage, it would be replacement of old signs is what we want it to function as. We've included in your packet our policy and process of how we would approve these, and it does require a city council approval. The funds right now are, since they're not city funds, we've been holding them with our fiduciary, the Michigan Suburbs Alliance. So if council does approve any of them, they will actually be writing the checks for us on our behalf. We also have an application in the packet and then guidelines that we have put together based on what the 8 Mile Boulevard Association has used in the past. They gave us permission to tweak them and make them fit for what we want to do here in Oak Park. And as Eric said, we want to hopefully have these business owners who need a little help be able to improve their facades, attract new customers into their business, and have the ripple effect. We've had a few businesses recently that have done facade work, and now all their neighbors want to do the same. So it definitely works.
That's excellent. Who donated this money? Are we going to be thanking people for their
Yes.
donations?
Yep, some of them don't want to be thanked
Publicly.
out loud right now, so.
Okay. That's great. Wonderful, more wonderful news. It just seems to be rolling. So, so I'm a business owner and I want to fix my sign. What would I get?
A maximum of $2,500, but it's a 50% match, so you need to come up with the other 50% of that.
So if it would cost me $5,000, I can get half of that from
Right.
from this program. To
Potentially.
make the city look
You,
better.
you need to make sure that you apply and get approved before you do any work, though.
And Madam Mayor, if I could, I just wanted to stress that none of the work falls out of line with the trade, building code, zoning ordinance, whatever it may be. So it's all work that has to be done under that guise. But yeah, there is this grant portion that can be matched to finance it.
And part of the process too, with Eric saying that, sparks something. They have to be current on their taxes and their licensing and have to pull out all the necessary permits to do the work, so.
But as a resident, we're going to see some spruced up storefronts.
That's what we're hoping for. And then hopefully in the future, after this year, if we get the Corridor Improvement Authority, we can set aside funds with that to continue the program in the future.
It's, you're on a roll. Thank you. We need a motion to approve the facade improvement program application and approval process.
So moved.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? Roll call, please. This is a big one.
Councilmember Burns,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine,
Yes.
Mayor McClellan,
Yes.
Councilmember Seligson.
Yes.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously, and we have a facade improvement program in the city of Oak Park.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And then 15D, we moved council members, and then 15E through J. Madam Mayor, I believe we can read all in one motion.
So we need a motion to receive and approve recommendations as submitted regarding Special Assessment District 641 for unpaid false alarm invoices, 642 unpaid weed mowing invoices, 643 unpaid sidewalk invoices, 644 unpaid water invoices, 645 unpaid special pickup invoices, and 646 unpaid snow removal invoices. We have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Seconded. Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine,
Yes.
Mayor McClellan,
Yes.
Councilmember Seligson.
Yes.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Councilmember Burns.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried. I wonder if Director Barrett would come up and just explain, letters were sent out, everything was looked into carefully. Just to let us know, it was a pretty substantial procedure that was gone through.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, City Manager. As the Mayor stated, yes, we do take every concern very seriously and painstakingly spend a lot of time and effort investigating each concern that they have. Unfortunately, a lot of them are hardships or financial hardships, which we really can't do anything about, but other times they are complaints of with construction or whatever happened, but we do follow up and we respond appropriately to each one with individual phone calls and letters.
Wonderful. Any concerns are taken very seriously and investigated, and the person's notified.
Yes.
Thank you for your diligent work.
Thank you.
Okay, Madam Mayor, members of council, before I call our Director of Public Safety up for 15K, I wanted to take an opportunity to introduce our new Deputy City Clerk and our Director of Elections, Sherilyn Brown, who is here. Welcome. And Sherilyn is coming to us. She's used to be the city clerk of the city of Ferndale for several years, and we were fortunate enough to land her here. So I wanted to say welcome and introduce you in front of our community. Thank you. With that said, Director of Public Safety Steve Cooper, could you go through 15K for me, please?
Sure. Once again, good evening, Mayor and Council, City Manager. Before you, 15K is an agenda item regarding our Oak Park Emergency Operations Plan, the updated version. The summary says, attached is the copy of the updated Oak Park Emergency Operations Plan. Per the Oakland County Homeland Security Division, the plan is required to be updated every 4 years. The plan was previously updated in May of 2011. The Oak Park Emergency Operations Plan is in support of the Oakland County Emergency Operations Plan. And I'm asking that the council adopt the Emergency Operations Plan in the form of a resolution, and at which point I will forward it to the Oakland County Homeland Security Division, where they will file it with their master plan as well.
Okay, so if we can have a motion, and then we'll have discussion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion or questions? I have a few. It talks about the connectivity capability between command posts and 911 centers and emergency operations centers. And has that been improved?
Well, we have new technology. The Clements, the Oakland County Clements Division, actually, on a fairly regular basis, they'll update and, phase out the old obsolete equipment and bring in new equipment. Within the last, I'd say, couple of years, that's been updated.
Wonderful. And then 4L, it said disability issues, and I wondered, are we doing anything to identify people with disability issues or our seniors? Is there some way that we know who these people are?
Well, like I said, our emergency operation plan is a broad plan, and obviously, you can't go into specifics as far as each in particular, household that you're referring to. Now, one that we do identify is our 15100 10-mile complex there. We're a high-rise where we have a lot of seniors that are elderly and need assistance in the case if we had to do an evacuation process. So that's one major senior living facility that we recognize and that's included in our operations plan as such.
So if there's somebody living in a single home, there's no way to identify if they're on some kind of medical machine or?
If they provide that information to us, we haven't sent out flyers, soliciting that. Now, we do have several residents throughout the Oak Park community, and it has really nothing specifically to do with the Oak Park Emergency Operations Plan, but just as a matter of protocol, In the event that we have to have medical respond to that particular home, they'll say, we're notified, and we have a booklet that actually lets us know if this person is on oxygen or they're dependent on or ambulatory, that they can't move without, 100% assistance. So we do have that, but an all-inclusive list, no, and it's pretty much up to the residents to provide us that information.
So you're encouraging residents to?
Oh, we always do that, absolutely.
Okay. Question, Councilmember Speech.
Yep, I actually have two.
All right.
My first question is, has this gone before the Emergency Services Commission yet?
What happens is, and I don't want to, maybe I should explain it a little more. The Oak Park Emergency Operations Plan is specifically lays out in the event that we had, say, a natural disaster or a man-made disaster, to include fires, floods, storms. Some of the man-made ones would be hazardous material spills, civil unrest, and terrorism. It talks about the functions or the roles that the various department heads would have. I don't think it would be appropriate to take that to the Emergency Services Council to, I guess, have them, so to speak, weigh in on it or change or alter the plan. It's more of a specialization within the specific departments that will be carrying out these functions. Okay. At which point this is adopted by council, then we'll definitely provide our Emergency Services Board with a copy of the plan and be able to discuss and answer any questions or concerns that they may have.
Okay, so that was my first question, so it doesn't need to go there?
Correct.
Okay, and then the other question is, do you work with them? Because I know we just approved something at the Emergency Services Commission. We just gave them a budget, actually, through City Council. So is there anything that you're doing with them that is included in this plan?
Well, what we're doing actually right now, one of the things that we're tackling with our Emergency Services Advisory Board is that we're actually coming up with a list of volunteers to assist. It would go in conjunction with the Emergency Operations Plan in the event that we had, unfortunately, one of these natural or man-made disasters. We're getting a list of volunteers together that will be able to assist with specific duties, general labor type things. It could be manning, a shelter center, handing out information, providing supplies, things of that nature. We didn't want to scare our residents away by making them think that they would be intricately involved in some of the specialties that I think are most appropriate for our staff to handle who had a specific training in those areas. Okay. But we are including them in the process, if that helps to answer any other.
Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, I think just to clarify, I think emergency services, we're talking about people in an ancillary way that can help to support the operations that are going on and be able to provide some of the feedback into the neighborhoods and communication for the residents. I just wanted to ask, and you probably know what I'm going to ask, are we planning to have simulation exercises, training workshops, and are these going to extend through all the departments coordinating so that we're prepared to go if there's a problem?
We're always looking to do that, and at some point we will. At what point in particular time, I can't give you a specific right now. Obviously, with staffing levels being a consideration, and you have to consider the monetary issues as well, but yeah, we'll definitely look to do something like that in the future.
I just want to, Mayor, if I
City
can.
Manager. Oh, yes.
He
Councilmember Speech.
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem actually used the correct term that I was looking for, ancillary. So,
Okay.
and I couldn't think of it, that's why I was just like, So ancillary types of volunteers, is
Absolutely.
that included in here? Because certainly that is a role that you need.
Right.
And I'm not suggesting that they would be able to take the place of officers, public safety officers, but the commission or any types of volunteers or anything ancillary, is that included in the plan?
That's included in the plan, as well as some of our volunteer agencies that we use, such as Red
Okay.
Cross, the Salvation Army.
Okay, so that's all in here.
Right, and
Okay.
and don't get too afraid. The Oak Park Emergency Operations Plan, it's a living document.
Okay.
It's not all inclusive. As things evolve and we need to add or change, we have the ability to do that as well. So the finished product that you see here is a finished product, so to speak, but you can always add to it or subtract from it, depending on what the actual emergency or the situation is.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Any further questions? Okay, are we ready for a vote? Okay, all those in favor of adopting this resolution?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, unanimously approved. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, members of council, that completes the city manager report for this evening.
Thank you. Next, we have call to the audience. Please come up and give us your name and address. We limit these comments to 3 minutes.
She took it off.
Nobody's feeling chatty today.
Beverly Miller, 13231 Oak Park Boulevard. First of all, I want to congratulate our Oak Park police because when I needed them, they were there. When I needed help, when my husband was living and he would fall or whatever, I could not do anything. The police said, just call them. They will come out and help you. They will call the ambulance to come take somebody to the hospital. So I can appreciate that. And so I think we have the best police department and our council, all of our department heads. Another thing I want to bring up is, now, I know we have all this grass in our yard and we get these papers on our windows telling us that we don't have stuff done, that we're going to get a citation, and then the city have to come out and cut our grass. What I don't understand is they never tell us the price of what it's going to cost. You know, so I don't know. Who would I talk to about that?
A lot of money.
Is it
Who?
Robert Barrett? Director Barrett? Talk to Director Barrett. Usually, it's much cheaper to hire someone to come and do it than to have the city do it.
I know, yeah, that's what I did, but I'm saying, because if you got to get a citation, that means you got to probably go to court, got to pay court costs, and then plus you got to pay the city to come out and cut your grass and stuff. And when we getting so much rain here, the grass is growing and the weeds is growing fast. And with the seniors, most of us is on these fixed incomes, so we don't get money no every week. So if we don't have our stuff done and we can't get out and do it if we have a health problem, y'all just, the only time they give us like 2 days, and then if you don't have it done in 2 days, you come out and doing it, and then you're stuck with all of that. So so that's what I just wanted to bring that up, because I am not the only senior person, you know, that's concerned about this. Because I see the city come out cutting in the middle of Oak Park Boulevard, they be out there cutting the grass, that's the city. But then I saw on the 13th was a day they gave us, if you don't have it done by the 13th, then we're gonna come out and do it, and you're going to get a citation, and you're going to get the city to do it and a bill. So if we can't get it done, when they say get it done, we're gonna get stuck with a big bill. So you be in the process of just wanting to say, I don't need no more grass. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you want to speak to this? No? Okay. Anyone else? No, it's good. Thank you. Our call to the council. Mayor Pro Tem Levine, do you have a few words for us?
Just wanted to let everybody know, now that people are out and about, the weather's changed, we'll have to watch out for more because we'll have school out soon, a lot of kids out playing. Be the eyes and ears for us. Let us know what you see, what needs to be righted in the community. We want to be able to make sure that we maintain high standards, because all the talk about economic development, the number one thing that we can do is keep this community safe, clean, and attractive. And everybody has a role in that. Thank you. Have a good night.
Council member speech. I think you have some information about grass cutting.
Yes, actually, I have a couple of items I wanted to share with everyone. Just wanted to remind you first about the input that Oakland County is seeking from county residents on how to spend the $5 million they're receiving from HUD. They are asking residents to give their input about how to use the money or how to invest in home improvement projects. And there are 3 opportunities for you to weigh in at the Oakland County building, the Oakland County executive buildings. It actually, the first one is tomorrow at 9 a.m., excuse me, on a public forum on housing at 9 a.m. tomorrow, and that is going to be at the Oakland County executive offices. The next one will be on Thursday, May 21st. That public forum is on community development at 2 p.m. at the executive offices. And then on Tuesday, June 2nd, that community forum will be on public services at 9 a.m. All of those are going to be at the Oakland County Executive Offices, 2100 Pontiac Lake Road in Waterford. If you're not able to make it to any of the public forums, I did mention last council meeting that they will be having a survey that's posted online. I believe our communications office should have it on our website by now, but just in case, the website address is surveymonkey.com/the letter S /7 B as in boy, X as in X-ray, 799 N as in Nancy. Again, that information should be on our website. Something else I wanted to mention to you all, the Oak Park Beautification Advisory Commission is hosting the annual flower sale. They're going to be selling annuals, perennials, hanging baskets, just like last year. It's always a very popular event. That is happening Saturday, I believe it's Saturday and Sunday. No, it's just Sunday? Oh, Sunday, okay. Sunday, May 24th, apologize. Sunday, May 24th, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Community Center, 14300 Oak Park Boulevard. So again, that's the annual flower sale, May 24th at 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And last but not least, as the mayor mentioned, I'm going to mention the grass cutting. So we've actually had some residents to ask me about this in the beauty parlor and CVS. So I wanted to ask Director Barrett to give me some pointers about this. This is the grass. We have an ordinance regarding grass and how tall it can be, not only for homeowners, but also for businesses. So all improved properties, grass growth must be maintained to a height of 8 inches or less. By the time it gets to 8 inches tall, someone has complained. So we're coming out, and there's people that come out and, maintain, in our technical and planning division, they maintain it, and it's actually become quite a hindrance for them, because that when they're taking up, looking at the grass and having to come out and cut, they're not able to do other things for safety reasons. So it's really taking up a lot of their time. But so the grass has to be maintained at 8 inches or less for improved properties, which means property with any building or structures on it, houses, companies, what have you. Unimproved properties, which are vacant lots, the grass growth must be maintained to a height of less than 16 inches. So that can get a little taller, but we don't want it to. But that's where you might see vacant lots have taller grass. Typically, a courtesy or a warning notice is issued, giving the property owner 24 hours to cut the grass. Sometimes, if they haven't been able to get there because they're busy other places, you may see that it may be longer than 24 hours. But you have at least 24 hours after you get that warning notice. If the grass is not cut, the city will cut the grass, and an invoice can cost you a lot of money. That's because they're not only cutting the grass, they have equipment charges, there's drive time because of employees are involved, there's actual time to complete cutting the grass, and then there's a 15% administration cost that's also involved. Every owner or occupant must cut the grass and remove the grass and the weeds as often as necessary, even if it rains or what have you, as often as is necessary is required. Failure to maintain the grass and any weeds may result in a citation, which also may require you to go to court, which of course is more costs. No person shall scatter or leave any grass clippings in the street. That's littering, so that can be a citation. I want to mention to you that if you are a senior or if you have any kind of disability, there are some programs that may be able to help you with that. So you can call the United Way, you can call senior help programs. The United Way helpline is from any phone line and find out if you're eligible for any type of program that can help you with your grass. Or you can call the city to find out. I believe the Recreation Department may have information for seniors, but certainly call 211, or you can call me and call me on my 248-691-7556 number, and I will help you find information on how to get seniors assistance, because that is something I do in my daily work. But certainly, we want to make sure that you have your grass cut, and we don't want you out there hurting yourself if you're a senior or disabled. But we do have an ordinance about this. It's not about giving you a hard time, and we certainly want to prevent blight and to prevent things like rodents, which can, harbor in tall grass. That's the reason that we have that ordinance, okay? And we want to keep Oak Park beautiful. That's all I have, Mayor.
Wonderful.
Oh, I forgot to say this. Congratulations to all those that are graduating or have helped someone graduate this year, whether it's from college or high school, what have you. It's that season.
Thank you. Councilmember Burns.
Yes, first I would like to say thank everyone for coming out. And I'm really, really excited to be a part of Oak Park's economic development, that we will now be having the Corridor Improvement Authority. We have development at the Armory site, and along with the Class C liquor license being passed, I'm pretty sure we're going to get new businesses moved to the city as well. So I think that's a wonderful thing, and I'm glad to be a part of it. I also wanted to give everyone an update on some of the committee works and some events that may be going on, that will be going on in the city, that you may want to attend. The Recycling Committee is having their Recycle event in the Ice Arena parking lot on Saturday, June the 7th from 10 to 2. They are also recycling electronics, meaning you can drop off TVs, computers, CD players, printers, if you're looking for a way to dispose of those things. They will also have a paper shredder on site for those of you who have abundance of paper that need to be disposed of. In addition to the recycling event, there will also be a rain barrel workshop there. You can build a rain barrel or you can purchase one for $50. This is a great way to go to help with the environment and capture rainwater for the use of your flowers and other domesticated uses. Also, the Library Committee, I would like to report that over 20,000 library cards have been issued this year to the residents of Oak Park, and 2 out of 3 residents in Oak Park have a library card. So I think that's wonderful, because I'm a nerd and I love to read books, and I think everyone should go to the library. Actually, before I came to the city council meeting, I stopped at the library today, and they have a lot of reading sessions going on. And today, author Beth Rogers, she was reading excerpts from her book, Freshman 14. She's also a teacher at Beth Yehuda. There was about 20 or 30 students there, so I thought that was very wonderful. And I encourage you to go to the website to see the upcoming events that we have. And finally, with the Recreation Committee, the seasonal hiring for the lifeguards, day camp counselors, and park rangers have begun. We've almost finished with those hirings. And the partition rentals started this week. I'm very honored to say that partitions 1 and 2 are totally booked for the entire summer, even with the increased fees. So that just goes to show you people will still come out and rent the facility, even though there has been a slight increase. There is limited rentals available in Shelter 3. Also, the pool is scheduled to open up on June 13. Yay! Let's go swimming. The heater will also be replaced so we can enjoy the cold water. And summer day camp begins on June 22nd. And I just want to remind everyone that the Independence Day event this year will be on Friday, July the 3rd, instead of a Saturday on the actual holiday. So thank you very much, and everyone have a pleasant evening.
Thank you, Councilmember Burns. Councilmember Seligson.
Yeah. Mrs. Miller reminded me of something that happened years ago, and happened several times actually, and that's when my mother, may she rest in peace, called me saying my father fell in the shower and he couldn't get up and couldn't get out. And I asked her if she called 911. She said she'd already called 911. I was there in about a minute and a half, and public safety had already been there and got my father out of there. That happened several times when he was sick. So The other thing that went through my mind is probably since I've been here a long time and I've only got less than 6 months to go, the worst time that I have had to go through here is probably the worst time that the city's had to go through, and that was through the murder, the night Officer Samborski was murdered. And that's why today, hearing the news and listening to them in Washington, once again throw cops under the bus, it just made me just want to say one thing. Thank you, public safety officers, for all you do for all of us. And that's not just protecting us, that's fire in this community, that's coming out on medical runs, that's everything that they do. And I just thank you. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you. Just a few things. If you're driving down 8 Mile Road, look at the former Armory property, because there will be bulldozers prepping the site. Things are starting. Also on Coolidge, right just north of 8 Mile Road, there's going to be an island installed with landscaping and a sign. And the work on that is starting this week. We got a rave review from former Public Safety Officer Rocky Bidoon, called City Hall with a question about his pension. And the clerk's office picked up the phone on the first ring, very professional. Karen Bryan was informative and helpful and polite, and Sandra Crawford resolved the issue. I'll find out for you. He was overwhelmed by the change in attitude and vastly improved service since Eric Tungate became city manager. Just our Oak Park heroine was Mayor Pro Tem's niece, Terry Falcon, and she was honored at National Peace Officers Day annual awards ceremony by Michael Bouchard, and she was in the Oakland Press, if you happen to see that. And he was trying to interest her in being an Oakland County Sheriff, and I said, Public Safety Director Steve Cooper's got dibs on her first. She's a former Marine medic and very brave individual, where most of us, I think, would drive by something and say, that's too bad. She stopped, got out of her car, and rescued the baby from the overturned van. There were some medics on the scene, but they couldn't get in to get the baby, and she was slim and got some burns on her face and some cuts, but got in, got the baby out of his seatbelt, upside down in the van, and rescued him. So we're very proud of our Oak Park resident, and I'm sure Mayor Pro Tem is very proud of his niece. Thank you and good night.
Oh, excuse me, Mayor.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I forgot to mention something else.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
In regards to the Library Commission. The Library Commission, we've received the James Dane Award from Metro Detroit Book and Author Services for $1,000, and that will be used to purchase materials for urban artists and hip-hop music. We've also received a grant to bring in the Spirit of Alexandria, which will bring the Howell Nature Center to do a presentation on the birds of prey. Great job, Library Committee.
Great job. That's nothing but good news. We're not allowed to have any bad news anytime this week, so it's just been great. Thank you and good night. This meeting is adjourned.
Congratulations.